Okay, so good morning, guys. So glad that you could join me this morning.
Morning.
Uh, just something that I want to mention to you. This is a open session, so I want you to interrupt me if you have any questions. Just unmute yourself and start speaking to me. So I'm going to run through my presentation here, and if you have any questions, just jump in and ask questions. Then today we're going to have a look at PowerPoint specifically for teaching. PowerPoint for a marketing exercise or PowerPoint for an information session will look completely different. These are PowerPoint tips and pointers that I'm giving you specifically for teaching and learning. Okay. If you don't agree with me on anything here, jump in and ask me why I say what I'm saying. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to start off with the technical stuff, and we're going to have a look at the theory of cognitive multimedia learning. Is there anyone in this group that has heard of this theory of cognitive multimedia learning before? No one at all.
No.
Okay, this is quite an interesting topic. And if you go to YouTube, you will find videos that explains it a lot better than what I can. I'm just going to give you a brief overview, but I would suggest that you make a note, go onto YouTube and do a search for the theory of cognitive multimedia learning. And that basically just explains, based on research, how the human brain works when it comes to learning. So what basically happens is with a multimedia presentation, you've got words, which is basically your audio that goes into your ears, and pictures and images that go in through your eyes. Now, keep in mind that if there are words on the screen and it is written out and you are mentioning it, it goes in via the ears and the eyes. Okay. And that is basically our sensory memory that we're talking about. And then your sensory memory grabs all of this information and that goes into your working memory. It selects the sounds and the images that is coming into the brain. And then your brain starts organizing and making sense of these things. And then in your long-term memory, you've got your prior knowledge. And where that integration between the new information and your prior knowledge, that integrating point is where actual learning takes place. That is where information becomes part of you. So that is what we're aiming for, and we get there by focusing our presentations. So we're going to start off with a little game that I want you to play around with. Let me just allow this person in. We're going to start off with a little game. And in this game, I want you to all to play along. I'm going to show you a video, and the video is all about attention and focusing attention. So we're going to see a magic trick where this guy turns $1 notes into $100 notes. But I want you to pay attention as much as possible. Here we go.
I'm going to show you something that's not completely legal.
Amazing. But did you happen to notice all the things that have changed since the scene began?
I'm going to show you something that's not completely legal.
while we held your attention on the money, the table turned to a stool.
Go.
Apollo magically got a new hat and handkerchief. And all the posters and cards in the background changed.
Your brain just played a trick on you. We all think we're paying close attention to the world around us. But strange as it may sound, this is just an illusion. Go. Misdirection is an elegant form of attention control. Our brains only allow us to really focus on one thing at a time. So when we have you deciphering a mystery down here, another mystery can be happening back here.
So, did you miss the 8 things that changed throughout the scene? Don't feel bad if you were fooled.
Okay, so let's hear from the audience. Who noticed 8 things that changed? Anyone? Let's take it down to 5 things. 3 things. Anyone notice anything? 1 thing? Nothing at all. So not one of you noticed anything. And that is the way our brains work. We focus on one thing at a time. And as a teacher, you need to determine where that focus is. And when you are using PowerPoint or any other multimedia in your class or online, you need to guide that focus. And I'm going to give you some guidance on how to guide the focus. So when we're looking at PowerPoint specifically, we start with our preparation. And our preparation things you need to keep in mind is design for your audience. You are not going to have the same design for a preschool slideshow as you would have for a university student. Even between first years and third year students, your designs will definitely need to be different. Okay, so keep your audience in mind. Keep in mind their prior knowledge and things that they know. Focus on the outcomes. As lecturers, I am sure I don't need to tell you this. It's all about the outcomes. Okay. Structure your planning, do your planning beforehand. I personally prefer doing it on paper before I even open PowerPoint. That way, it's just a lot easier when you actually get into PowerPoint. I've actually, this afternoon's session at 1, I can actually show you how to use Word and then do your notes in Word and it automatically becomes a PowerPoint. So if you're interested in knowing how to do that, join me at 1 o'clock. Okay, but very important, do your planning beforehand. Remember, PowerPoint is only a tool. If the PowerPoint slideshow can replace you, then you are using it wrong. It is there to support you. It is not there to replace you. And PowerPoint is a visual medium, so think visually. Where you can use images, use images. Use it in such a way that it stimulates vision. Okay, that's it for preparation. Oh, no. And just the last thing. Nowadays, you have to keep in mind if you're going to put anything on the screen that might offend someone, just give them a fair warning. Sometimes things go a bit too far. I know, for instance, with nursing, there was a presentation where they showed some wounds and cuts, and some of the students, first-year students, got a little upset. But then obviously you start realizing maybe you're in the wrong study field. But yeah, just keep in mind if you're going to put something on the screen that might trigger someone's sensitivities, just give them a warning. Okay. Any question on preparation before I move ahead? Speak now or forever hold your peace. No, I'm lying. You can always contact me again. Okay, when it comes to layout, some basic things you need to keep in mind. And remember, most of these things you already know. I'm just mostly giving you a refresher. So when it comes to layout, make sure that there's consistency between your slides. Every time a slide design changes, the brain needs to refocus and readjust. So keep it as consistent as possible. That means the size of your text and your fonts. Make sure that you use the same fonts throughout. The placement of your bullets and things like that. Make sure that everything remains the same. Also, if you're going to use animations, which you probably should not, unless it serves a purpose. I'm using an animation here which fades the text that I'm not talking about. So animations sometimes are useful, but as a rule of thumb, stay away from them. And if you're going to use them throughout. Remember, with PowerPoint, less is more. So one slide per message. Unless it is a really long message, then you can start using more than one slide. But try and keep your messages together. Okay, so one slide per message. Use bullets. Do not write out lots of text on your slides. It is just distracting, and your students are reading the slides while they should be listening to you. The 6x6 rule. Anyone want to take a guess what the 6x6 rule is? Oh, you have turned into students. You are just sitting there absorbing. I want some interaction. Give me an answer. The 6x6 rule. I'm going to pick someone
Not
here. Cindy.
more
Cobus.
than 6 lines, I presume. Or not
Okay.
more than 6 words, I'm not sure.
That is a very good guess, Cobus, and you are actually right. So it is
Yes,
6.
Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, it's John Smolison speaking. It's basically no more than 6 bullet points on a slide.
Yes. 6 bullet points per slide, and at most 6 words per bullet point. Once you get to 6 words, you've already gone too far. And keep in mind, this is a general rule. If you have a 7th bullet, don't start a new slide for a 7th bullet. Then you can actually just add it in there. But as a general rule of thumb, keep it to the 6x6. 6 bullet points per slide, 6 words per bullet point maximum. Okay. Create focus. I am using this animation where things fade out, and I'm keeping your focus or what I'm talking about as the brightest thing on the slide. So make sure that you focus the student's attention. Okay. Don't use background music unless you are giving a lecture on music. Then it would make sense. But as a rule of thumb, don't use background music or sound effects on your slides if you don't have a very good reason for doing so. When it comes to fonts, make sure that the fonts that you use are clearly readable. No fancy fonts, just nice plain fonts. Avoid all capitals. That is just because it is more difficult to read. PowerPoint is the one place where size does matter. Okay? So especially if you're in a lecture room that is large, it becomes difficult to read. This is not something that I need to tell you. I'm sure that you already know this. Okay? When it comes to color, make sure that there is contrast. Don't get too creative. Well, let's just get back to contrast. Can anyone tell me what is regarding contrast, what is a bad thing to do with your font on a slide?
Using too many colors.
Using too many colors. Anything else? Lauren, why are you so quiet?
It's nice to be like a student for a change.
Yes, getting
Okay, you wanted
lazy.
to know, I
What?
think I think different font sizes is distracting, and some are not as legible as we think it is.
But But when it comes to contrast specifically, what is a bad thing to do? Can you give me an example?
Chris, isn't it also that you mustn't use green or yellow or like that on your slide regarding
Yes.
contrast?
Depends on what your background color is, but using yellow
Yes.
text on a white background, for instance, will definitely be a bad thing to do when it comes to contrast. So ultimately, what you're trying to do is make sure that your bullet point is standing out. Okay. Don't get too creative with colors, like Cindy said, unless you are doing a presentation for 4-year and 5-year-olds. Then use color. Then it is important to use color. But when it comes to university students, especially when we get to 3rd year, don't use color unless you use it for occasional emphasis. Like over here, I've used the red for my emphasis. And then once again, make sure that if you're going to do that, use that technique, use it the same throughout your slides. Okay? When it comes to backgrounds, speaking of backgrounds, think neutral. Make sure your background is as plain as possible. I prefer to use a dark background, and this is something that I read in a study, I think it was in 2012, 2013, round about there, that I read this study about using a black background, especially if you're in a live presentation, not so much on an online presentation, but especially in a live presentation. And I have noticed since I've been doing that, that the audience looks up at the screen, reads the word or reads the bullet, and then their focus comes back to you. And this is because usually, have you ever sat in a living room talking to someone and there's a TV on and your eyes keep on going to the TV? Although it's just ads, it's lots of crap on the TV, but that is because you automatically, your eyes go to the brightest thing in the room. And hopefully in a lecture hall, you are the brightest thing in the room and not your slides. So try and avoid bright white background because it just distracts your attention. Is there anyone that does not agree with me on that one, on that point?
It makes sense.
Yeah. And it's I thought it was such a basic idea, and when I put it into practice, the results speak for themselves.
So, Chris, can I
Yes.
ask a question here? As far as TUT's standard formats are concerned, are we allowed to use, like, say, a dark blue background or something like that?
Well, technically, what I have done here, putting the TUT logo on a black background, I'm not supposed to do. I'm supposed to put the grayscale one or a white one on the black background. So what I have done here, I'm not really supposed to be doing that. It's not something that I'm supposed to be doing. But I would rather just remove everything, remove the logos completely, and keep to the black background. Most of our designing for our image is being done for corporate events. So it's not really for teaching. Those slide templates that we get is not really for teaching. It is more for when you're presenting at conferences and things like that. I have actually asked them to design a dark background slideshow for us, but nothing has happened over the years. You know how fast things happen at TUT. Okay. So I want you to think visually because PowerPoint is a visual medium. So use images, but use strong, relevant images. If you're going to have a talk about a BMW and you're going to place a photo of a BMW, don't use a photo of a BMW in a parking lot. use a BMW. You know the way normally you get the ads where the focus is on what you are talking about. So make sure that your images are strong and relevant. Do I make sense when I say that?
Can you give? I'm not too
Yes.
sure.
I am going to show you some, by the end of this slideshow, I'm going to show you some examples.
Okay, thank you.
Then you will understand a bit more.
Okay.
Don't use GIFs. I know a lot of people, or GIFs. I don't know how this is. Everyone is still arguing about how this is pronounced. So GIFs, don't use things that move on the screen, because once again, the brain is going to be occupied with the movement and not with the information that you're trying to get across. If you use any data, use graphics to represent data. Also got an example at the end of the slideshow on what I mean with using data, representing it in graphic form rather than text form. 16:9. I'm going to
Chris?
buy, yes.
If here in Soshanguve North, we often have problems with our equipment and all kinds of things. So we sometimes make copies of our presentations. So if you were to prepare on a black background, but you want to be safe if there's a problem with equipment or electricity, how can one make the one that you copy that it reverses the, is there a quick fix to reverse it so you don't waste ink?
If you
For
want
the
to make
handout.
printouts, if you
Yeah.
want to make handouts,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
There is actually, when you go to your printing properties, you will see that you can actually print it out without the black background, that it actually transposes it to you. But in that same breath, I want to tell you, if your PowerPoint slideshows can be handed out as a printout, then they are badly designed for education. In that same breath, then you are basically making notes for your students. You're not designing a PowerPoint slideshow.
That is true, but you are making a plan to overcome challenges.
I think the next slide I am going to deal with that question of yours. Can we park it just for a second? Otherwise, I'm going to repeat myself.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we're going to get back to that thought. Okay. Just on this question, 16:9. Oh, and there's a mistake on my slideshow right here. This did not fade out. I have to fix that. Okay, 16:9. I'm going to buy a chocolate to the person that can tell me what I want to say about 16:9. What does that mean? So let's see. Who gives me an answer first? Participants. David, your hand is up. Tell me what I mean by 16:9.
Good morning. By 16:9, you're referring to the aspect ratio. You can either have it by 4:3. Actually, there are many that you can have, but with 16:9, it turns up to fill up the computer display because it's also at 16:9.
Yes, David, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from San University of Technology in Arcadia, chemistry department.
A chemist giving this information. That is interesting. Okay, I thought you might be at Arts Campus. Okay, in layman's terms, nowadays, and David, I will bring you your chocolate. Okay, in layman's terms, our screens have become wider. Remember, when we were growing up, our TV screens were a lot more square, and then we went for this widescreen, and suddenly our computer screens became widescreen. Now, the aspect ratio of the old screens was 4:3, and nowadays everything is 16:9. Our projectors are 16:9. Our computer screens are 16:9. So when you do your design for your slideshows, make sure that it is set to 16:9 widescreen. I will show you at the end of this exactly where that button is. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Ooh,
Yes, it does.
students.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, using media in your PowerPoint slideshow is always a good idea, but keep in mind image quality. The quality of your image should be really, really good. If you can't find a decent quality image, rather not use the image. Unless it is something like a photograph from 1625 that you want to use and that's the only one available, then you might be forgiven. But make sure that your image quality, the quality of the images that you use, are very good. Incorporate video into your slideshows, but don't jump out of your slideshow to go and show a video. Make sure that you download that video and place it inside of your slideshow. I love using it as icebreakers. It's a good way, like I did in the beginning with that brain games. And there are so many things on YouTube that you can use for that purpose. Like I said, make sure that you download your video and you insert it directly into your slideshow, that you don't jump onto YouTube and hope you've got internet connectivity, etc., etc.
Chris,
Yes, Nadia.
sorry, are you going to show us how to download the videos and put it into the slideshows?
There is actually something that I use. It's a little piece of software that you can download. It is called 4K Video Downloader. With TUT computers, you have got the problem that you are not able to install software yourself. But if you've got a private computer, I would suggest that you download 4K Video Downloader, and in that way download the videos. Otherwise, give me send me the link. I will download the video for you and send you the video.
Okay.
If that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
I would prefer that you get empowered, but if we can't
Yes.
get you empowered, then I will assist you.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, there are workarounds, Kelly. Do you know of any workarounds that you can suggest to us?
Yes, you just Google YouTube video downloaders, and there's a whole bunch of them. And you need to copy and paste the link of your YouTube video into the downloader, but you've got to be very careful what you click.
Yes.
Because they're full of pop-ups. You can't just click yes, 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 because next thing you know, you're looking at stuff on your laptop that could get you fired. You've got to be very, very careful what you click, and don't make sure you're not installing stuff or clicking on dodgy links to subscribe to stuff. You just got to really make the coffee strong before you do it. But they do work, and some of them even give you options to download different qualities of videos.
Those online options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kitty, that is one big mouse on your shoulder. Is that a mouse?
It's a giant African pouched rat.
Ooh, okay.
We were training them to sniff out wildlife contraband in shipping containers.
Oh,
They're really awesome. Yeah.
Amazing.
Sorry, sideshow.
Okay. Sorry about Maria going off rails there. But yes, there are options available online. I would be, like Kelly said, very careful about what you use, that you don't end up installing things on your computer that are not supposed to be there. Okay. Cindy, do you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Then my next step to you is keep files together. If you are going to take your presentation and you're going to put it on a memory stick to present in another venue, make sure that all your images and your videos and everything is in one folder with your PowerPoint file, so that when you get to a venue and you want to play a video, that video is still on your stick and not you think that it's in your presentation, then it doesn't want to play. So keep your files together. Keep in mind copyright issues as an educational institution, this is not something that we really have to worry about. I mean, we get permission from large movie studios to use clips from their movies without any problems. But just ask before you use something. And if you're going to use something, just make sure that you reference where you got it from. Okay? Any questions on that? That usually starts a discussion.
I think my daughter being in design, she also directed me towards a website like Pixel, and I think there's one or two more, where you can actually download an image, not transgressing any copyright.
Yes, there's a couple of websites. Pixel is a great source for that, where you can get uncopyrighted or free to use images. When it comes to something like a YouTube video, because YouTube is an open platform, you are allowed to use those videos, but just once again, just give reference. Okay. Then go online. And this is where our discussion comes into play. When you do a slideshow, make sure that you record a voice narration with your slideshow and get that to your students in some way, form, or matter. We have got a lovely LMS. This D2L one works brilliantly, so make sure that it is there. You can even create your own YouTube channel, and one of my sessions this afternoon, I show you how to do that. And all the content that you created and your recordings that you created, you can store in there for your students to go and watch. But make sure that you've got a narrated version of your slideshow so that it makes sense. If I had to give you this slideshow of mine with just these bullet points, you are probably going to get lost. But with a narrated version, you can do a lot. Real? That makes sense?
So you would, let's say now, if you're in a class and you can't use equipment, you would
make sure that the students have access to that lecture online.
Okay. Right.
As a matter of fact, if you want to be really, really effective, have a look at what is called the flipped classroom model. It is extremely beneficial to do your things that way. And basically what that comes down to is all your lectures are available online, and students need to watch a lecture on a topic before they come to class for that topic. And in the classroom, instead of giving your lecture, instead of running through your slides, you actually give them little assignments or ways that they can work and interpret the information that they were given online. So your class becomes a place where they actually interact with the information, whereas their homework is just getting that information. Does that make sense? But that's a topic for a completely different discussion. Yes, Real. See, your hand is up?
No, I was looking for the thumb sign.
Okay. Okay, so make sure that your slideshows there's a recorded, narrated version somewhere, and then convert it into video. If you want a lesson on how to do this, the second session I'm doing this afternoon at 11 o'clock, I actually deal with that. Make sure that those videos are small. Your PowerPoint slideshows are small and short. Ideally, if it's a recorded one, you should stick to around maximum 10 minutes. I know that certain topics you can't do in 10 minutes, but as a rule of thumb, when it comes to educational bits, keep things in small, little, digestible packets. Okay. When you're doing these recordings for your narration, smile while you're doing it. Try and sound excited, because that is going to make a difference between someone getting bored with what you're saying and someone enjoying what is happening on the slideshow. Okay. And then the most obvious one is make sure that you proofread your spelling, because there's another thing that our brain does. If you are sitting in a presentation and you notice a spelling error, your brain actually starts trying to correct that spelling error, and you're not listening to what the presenter is saying anymore. So a little thing like that can actually cause a lot of damage. So let's look at some, you see how bright your screens have become. So let's have a look here at some general problems. So there we've got a header. It's not a very big header, but it's there. And when I go to my next slide, it jumps around. That is such an annoying thing. So make sure the consistency that we talked about. There we've got bullets. There the bullets are getting really small, which is not so much of an impact when you're sitting in front of a computer screen. In a classroom, this looks terrible. And especially the next thing that I'm going to show you, the font. This is what I mean when I'm talking about readable fonts. You can read that. It just takes your brain an extra nanosecond to try and deal with that. Animations that are annoying and jump up from everywhere should be avoided. We talk about yellow on white, for instance. Contrast, very important. Okay. Do you think this slide can look any worse? You
Probably,
don't.
but
You don't. I have walked into classes and seen this. I have seen this in lecture rooms.
Okay.
Okay. So here we've got lots of text and contrast. And remember, when I say don't use a lot of text on your screen, if you are quoting someone, then you are obviously going to have more than 6 words on the screen. So rule of thumb, generalization. Okay. But this is a nightmare. Don't ever use a slide like that. Rather not use a slide at all. Okay. Here we have got some data. Blue balls and red balls from January to April. If I do it like this, isn't that a lot clearer? Just instantly the information becomes clearer. Do you think I can make this look better?
I'm scared to answer now.
I can actually make
Yes.
this look better, and I can make it look better by keeping it simple.
Yeah.
You see the difference? So,
Let's go
so
back to the previous one again.
this is wonderful. It's fancy.
But you can't read there.
Yeah, it looks prettier, but this is the information that I'm looking for. Okay. If you are doing a marketing slideshow, then that would be more impressive. Understand? But when I'm trying to get a point across, an educational point across, keep it basic, keep it simple.
Why would you say that the other one works better for marketing? Can you just explain? This is a matter of interest. What?
When you are marketing, do we have any marketing lecturers in here? Not okay. But when you are marketing to something to someone, you are doing an emotional appeal. So it's all about warm and fuzzy and making things look exciting. And do you understand where the marketing brain starts coming from?
Yeah, okay, got you.
Okay. We're talking about image quality. It's a nice high image quality. It's focused on this, what do you call it, compass. So your image is strong. It shows what you mean. I'm willing to give 500 Rand to a person that tells me what that is. Anyone want to guess? This is 500 bucks. I'm getting a 4,000 Rand bonus from a university before the 20th, apparently. So I'm willing to give away 500 bucks. Tuto, take a guess.
Somebody's hand is up.
Yeah.
Well, it
Tuto?
looks like quality link to me.
A quality link. Okay, that's a good guess. Any other guesses, Killian?
Is it the button on an air fryer?
Ooh, we're getting closer. We're getting
Or on the
closer.
4x4, switching on your low range and high range.
You are actually very close there. You're not quite there, but you're quite close. Anyone else want to?
250 Rand.
Anyone else want to try? Just for fun, just for the hell of it. I see Jones's face in my first corner here, and it's like he keeps on watching me. Jones, are you there? Jones is not here. He's just listening to me. Okay, no one wants to take a guess? That is a setting for an air conditioner in a car. Would you believe? So clear images, make sure that you use quality images. Then there is my details. If you don't know them yet, make a note. If you have any questions or you need any help with PowerPoints, please get in contact with me and I will help you. Okay, any questions from
Chris?
your side? Yes, Kobus.
I just wanted to ask in connection with the amount of pictures that you use on a PowerPoint. I presume your answer would be 1 per slide. Is it distracting if you put 2 pictures on a page or something like that?
Rule of thumb would be 1 per slide, unless there's a reason why you need 2 or more. If there's a reason why you're doing it, do it. But there needs to be a well thought out reason why you do things. Does that give you an answer?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Timothy?
Yes, thanks, Chris, for the
Dr. Akai.
presentation. Yeah. Just one quick question. How do you change anything on the master slide? Like say the logo, if I want to change the logo or the text, e-media design and development, and put something else that will show on all of the slides, how and where do you change that from?
That you will go into designing your master slide. It's a little bit complicated. If you want me to show you how to do that, I would suggest that we set up a session for that.
Okay, fine.
Or you can go to what if you ever have any questions and you can't get hold of me, go to YouTube and type in how to create master slide and you will get a tutorial. Some clever person would have made a video on how to do it. Okay, but yeah, we can set up a session for creating a template, a slide template. Okay.
Yes, there's a question in the chat.
Oh, I'm not seeing the chat. Let me just get to the chat here. This is what I hate about Teams. Okay. Killian, our IT department are not in love with those downloaded. Yeah, but they are workarounds. Okay, Chris, what if you're using graphs and you want to compare 2 graphs? Can you put graphs on one side? Yes, you can, because you are comparing 2 things, so you need to see both things at the same time. That is exactly where using 2 images on one slide would make sense. But otherwise, as a general rule, 1 image. If there's a reason why you're doing something, good. Killian, I see your hand is
Thank
up.
you very much. I was a bit late, so I apologize if I missed this. I see you using a very nice TUT template there. Is that available for us, please?
This is not a very nice TUT template.
I think it looks lovely.
I was actually saying that I think I should send this to Amanda at corporate and get her opinion. But I can almost guarantee you they're going to crucify me because I put the logo on a black background.
Okay.
The actual guide says if you're using if it's a black background, you have to use the white or the grayscale version.
I've been using that white one and I'm just getting a bit bored of it. So I was hoping for something a bit different.
It is so boring. But I can also tell you I've been using this since 2013 and no one's.
You're bored of that too.
I think sometimes our
said
students,
anything.
sometimes our students also need to see something different to grab and hold their attention.
That's also true. You make a very good point there. I think corporate is more worried about once you go to a conference and you're representing the university. That is where the corporate image really, really comes into play. What you use in your day-to-day classes is not really that much of an issue. If you want, send me an email and I will reply sending you this specific slideshow, and then you can use this as a template.
Thank you.
Send me an email just saying, please send me the slides, and I will send that to you. Yeah. Selena?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, colleagues.
Hi, Selena.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I wanted to know, speaking of templates, is there any place where we can go and get TET templates to use for our PowerPoint presentations, or you need to create one yourself? Or
Okay.
you need to ask you for one? Thank you, Chris.
Okay. If I hear you correctly, you want to know where you can find the actual templates that the university uses. Is that correct?
Yes, so yes, with the TUT branding and all of that.
Okay, if you go here into the My Portal, you will see under, I think it's downloads. Under downloads, there you've got the corporate ID downloads. And under corporate ID downloads, there you've got the PowerPoint slideshows. This is still a 4:3. It's not even 16:9. So personally, I would not send you there to use these things because it's just so outdated. But that is where you can find them if you need them, Selena.
So my other option then is to send you an email and ask nicely for you to
Yeah,
send.
I think I'm going to make a note here, and I'm going to set up a meeting with corporate affairs and ask them, listen, it's time to update your stuff. Okay, so I will speak to Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay, Ignance?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I just want to find out, just for scientific kind of reporting, can we have this template on LaTeX?
If you send me an email, I will reply back with a slide. I will send you the slides, the slideshow.
In LaTeX?
Sorry?
LaTeX. You know, there's that scientific free software for editing. I don't know if we can have this template in that how will I say, LaTeX, you know, like the programming part, I mean, the editing programming type of writing document, you know, it's like Word, Word Office, but on LaTeX. I'm sure you know about that.
I actually don't know about that, but is there anyone here that has an answer to that?
I'm sure Timothy will know it. The LaTeX
Dr.
editing, document processing. Anyway, I will chat to you on that. I just want to find out if we could use other things than Microsoft PowerPoint. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get a better, I actually prefer using the Google Slides.
Okay.
It actually works better, but as a university, we are Microsoft.
Okay.
But if you use alternatives, no one's going to stop you.
Okay. Now, thank you very much.
Cool. In Essentia.
Yes, morning. Is it possible? Thank you for your presentation. Is it possible maybe to work with the corporates office or department so that they can send us these ones, because previously they are the ones that we are using currently. They sent us, via email. We got them by email some few years ago. If maybe these ones, because these ones are very sophisticated. I actually love them. So if it's possible to maybe work with them, because I'm thinking many of us would really appreciate to have these ones sent to us, rather than maybe us who were able to attend the presentation to be the only ones who have access to these ones. Thanks.
I will, like I say, I will set up a meeting with Amanda and discuss it with her. But in the meantime, send me an email and I will reply with this PowerPoint slideshow, and then you can just take out the information that I got in there and populate it with your own info.
Thanks.
Okay. That was Selena. Right. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Just, I remember I said I'm going to show you the 16:9 setting. Okay. Maybe something, rule of thumb, whenever you work with any software on a computer, the only thing you need to remember are 4 letters, and that is RTFS. Who can tell me what does RTFS stand for? Who wants to take a guess? Cindy knows.
Read the fluffing
I want to say, but yeah.
Read the fluffing screen.
Read the friggin' screen or flipping screen. Or you can replace that F with what
yes.
F. So if you want to do anything in PowerPoint, read the screen. So we want to set this to 16:9. So that is part of design. So let's have a look under design. And under design, I've got all these options, and then I've got slide size, and I've got standard 4:3, widescreen 16:9. See, if I go 4:3, it is actually going to cut off things, but that is 4:3. You see how square it is. Okay. So remember to set it to do 16:9. And I better not save the slideshow now. Okay. Any other questions? Killian.
Thanks, Chris. I just thought about it now, so I haven't tried Professor YouTube yet. Is it possible to set up your laptop that every time it opens up a slideshow that it does it in a default manner, like in 16:9 or something like that?
Yes, if you've got the newest PowerPoint slideshow, it is going to create your new ones as 16:9. And it's just if you open old PowerPoints, it is if you open one that is designed in 4:3, it is going to open it as a 4:3.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? This is your last chance. Going once, going twice, and forever hold your peace. Okay, if you need any information or you need any help with any presentations or anything regarding educational video, feel free to contact me. Okay, thank you for joining me. Hope to see you at the other sessions as well.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.